Hello, Mary J Black here. So in today's video, I am going to be showing you how we went from looking like this to looking like that. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm just going to dive right into this video. So the first step to achieving a flawless glam is you working on a clean canvas, and when I say canvas I mean your face. So first off, you want to go in with your micellar water and a cotton pad just to take out the excess oil and impurities on your face, and in doing that I am using the Brown Girls Magic micellar water. So once that is done, I always like to use my mini fan to just dry up the skin before I go on to my next step, which is my hydrating mist. And in doing this, I'm using the SoooPro hydrating mist. So what this does is it just brings back hydration to your skin after wiping the face, and again I go back in with my mini fan to dry up, just to help the product sink into the skin, because when it comes to makeup you need to perfect every step before you move on to the next. So next up, I'm going to be going in with my moisturizer, which is the Embroylisse lacquering concentrate. So when you're applying this moisturizer, at first it will look whitish on the face, but you need to massage it onto the skin until it becomes clear. If it's still looking whitish, you are not done massaging, because you need the moisturizer to actually do the work and moisturize the skin and not just sit on the surface as a cream. So one thing I always do is when I apply my moisturizer, because I want to hasten up the application, I just always have my mini fan on the side, just helping me dry it up and sinking it onto the skin faster. And once you have this clear application on your face, it gives you this glow, this moisturized look. Just know you are ready to go on with your primer. So and for my primer, I am using the MAC Frosted Block Face Primer. So this is a mattifying primer, but it gives you that velvety finish. It doesn't look so matte, but it is matte. So this is the primer I'm using, and this is from MAC. I use this primer for most of my brides because it just gives me that perfect finish that I like. So same thing with your primer, always make sure to blend it smoothly. Make sure you do not have any patch on anywhere, because you see the thing with base, how you start is how you are going to finish. If you have a patchy base, don't worry, your finish is going to be patchy. But if you have a smooth application from the scratch, be rest assured that your finished work is going to look very smooth. So make sure that every step of the way your application is right. So next up, we're going in with the foundation, and I'm using the MAC Studio Fix in NW44 and NW50. So I mixed both foundations because one was too light and one was too dark. So I needed to create a balance by mixing 50-50 of both shades. So when you're applying your foundation, like I said, how you start is how you finish, and same thing works with every step of your application. You want to blend your foundation so well that it sinks into the skin and it just has that flawless application. So next up, we're going to be contouring the face using the L'Oreal True Match in C10. So the essence of contouring is to create shadows around the face and also give you a definition to the structure of your face. So I'm just going to use this to define her cheekbone, define her jawline, create shadow around the forehead, and also define the shape of her nose, basically contouring her nose to look slimmer. So you can actually use your contour to actually make your face look slimmer. Everything with makeup is actually art. Whatever it is you do, just have a picture of what you were trying to achieve and then understand the ways on how you can achieve them, and you were good to go. So I'm just using my contour cream, which is a darker shade of foundation, to just define her structures. And then after that is done, I went in with my blush, and in using my blush, I'm using the Omaricode Flushed Fusion in Haze Coral. So this is a peachy nude shade of blush, and when I'm applying my blush, I always like to dab it, especially when I'm using a beauty blender. Once I take the product, I like to dab it on the back of my palm, just to create that smooth base on the beauty blender before going onto the skin, because if you just take it from the blush stick and go directly on the skin, it's going to be like a stamp, like a staple. You just stapled it there, and since I want a very flawless application, I want a smooth application, I wanted it to just like transition into the contour and onto the foundation, I had to first blend it on the back of my palm before I go onto the skin. So in doing this, you can build this blush to actually look more pigmented, but I was going for something really subtle. And yeah, so next up, I put the blush on the tip of the nose. So this just has a youthful feel, I can never understand this trend, but it looks very pretty, so I'm just incorporating it in my makeup. So next up, I'm highlighting the face and I'm using the Huda Beauty FauxFilter concealer in peanut butter. So I'm just going to be applying this around the T-zones, which are the areas I want to highlight, which is the forehead, the under eyes, the jaw, and the bridge of the nose. So remember, we contoured the cheekbone, the forehead, and the jawline because those are the areas we're trying to define the structures of the face. And then underneath, we're creating highlights just to make the face pop and just give it that perfect highlight actually. So I'm just going to apply the concealers around these areas. And I need to tell you this, that when you are blending out your concealer, especially if you're using a beauty blender, one beauty blender, always make sure to blend your concealer from the part of the face that has the lesser amount of concealer, which is the bridge of the nose. Because imagine this, you use your beauty blender to blend under the eyes and then you now go back to the nose. The whole essence of contouring is to make the nose look slimmer, and the essence of highlighting is actually to bring highlights, bring this pop of shine around certain areas of the face. So imagine you actually just highlighting the entire nose. It's going to make the nose look so wide, and that's not what you want. So always start to blend from the point where you have lesser concealer, and then you go on to other areas. So now this particular beauty blender I use, this particular shape, what it does is I can use this particular beauty blender to actually lift the eyes. Just use the concealer to first create this really beautiful lifting around the areas of the eyes. I'm not sure I showed you what the beauty blender looked like, but I will just find a picture of it and just attach it somewhere on this video so you can see what the shape looks like. And I would advise you should just, if you have the shape, great. If you don't, if you can find a way to make the one you have work, great for you. So remember what I said, blending is key. You want to blend your foundation and make sure the blush transitions into the concealer transitions into the blush, the contour transitions into the blush. Everything just has to marry each other when it comes to your makeup. Remember, a flawless base will give you the flawless finish. So one other thing I like to do is, I realize that most of the time when I contour the nose before using the highlighter, I end up messing up the entire contour by spreading my highlighter, and then I have to go back and reapplying the contour around the nose. So what I do right now is I just highlight first and then I come back to contour the nose. And when I contour the nose, I first go in with a dense brush, which is more precise, to just apply the contour where I want to, which is from the beginning of the brows to the tip of the nose, and just join it at that bottom area around the tip. And then I go back in with my beauty blender at the area that doesn't have any product whatsoever to just diffuse the contour into the concealer into the contour. I do not like to see that sharp line. And same thing with you, if you're doing yours, you want to blend it out and just create that beautiful transition into each other. And then next up, I'm going in with my setting spray, and I'm using the Sephora setting spray. So the essence of spraying your face in between is it helps you melt down your makeup faster, giving it that skin-like finish, and also creates a longevity wear for your makeup. So it's something I would advise you incorporate in your method of applying your makeup. So once I do that, I always use my fan to make sure it dries onto the skin before I go onto any step. And once it dries up, I take back my beauty blender and blend again, and then I go on to my setting powder. So for my setting powder, I am using the translucent Sephora setting powder, and I'm also using the same beauty blender to apply the setting powder. So one thing I will tell you is, you see the way I took the blush and then dabbed it behind my palm just so I have a smooth application. Same thing goes with my setting powder. Once I take my setting powder, I always rub it rub it on my palm to create a flawless application when it goes on the skin. Because if I just take the product directly from the pack and go onto the skin, it's not going to look all great. So I always like to first blend it on my palm, and then I start setting under the eyes, because I am setting. Remember, I am not baking. If I was baking, I would just go straight in, but you want to always set your face before you go into the baking process, just so you have a flawless application. And once that was done, I went in with my Sephora MicroSmooth powder just to set the entire face in the shade Almond. And once that was done, now I am baking with the same setting powder I used. So I'm just applying the setting powder in the areas where I highlighted, not the areas where I contoured, just the areas where I highlighted. And I like to bring the setting powder a little bit over my blush. So once that is done, I'm going to now set my bronzer, which is my contour. Remember, we did cream contour, so of course we have to set it with powder, and I'm using the Yglam Bronzey contour palette. This is so nice. It has shades for both dark to light skin tone. Like, it is pigmented, and I recommend you actually have this in your box if you're a makeup artist or if you're a makeup lover. You need this in your kit. So I'm just contouring every area that I use the cream to like contour, and we're just trying to blend out the nose, create more depth and definition around all those areas where I want to create that shadow and definition around the structures of the face. And then also I like to use a blending brush to just blend my nose contour into my highlighted area. And once that is done, I take a powder brush just to blend the setting powder around the forehead, the jaw and the nose onto each other. Remember, I say I like when my makeup marries each other and not just stays separately, from the contour being on its own, the powder being there and all of that. No. And then next up, I'm going in with my blush. And for my blush, I'm using the shade Thats Peachy in the MAC blush. So this is a very soft blush, but it's a buildable one. So whatever level of pigment you want for your blush, you can actually build with this. This works on both dark skin, medium skin, and also a light skin. So you can actually build it to just suit whatever skin tone it is that you are. And same application method I do is, when I take my blush, I always have to dab it behind my palm or on my any of my palettes cover before I apply it on the face. And when I apply my blush, I do not drag. I always dab it, more like I'm just tapping on the skin. And when I apply it, I first apply on the cheekbone, and then I start to spread it into the contour and also into my highlighted area, just so I create that well blended and beautiful transition between all of it. And then next up, I'm going in with my brows. So if I'm not using the Hege and Esther brow gel, I'm using my Davis pencil in color 03. It is the OG. If you know, you know. So also, one thing I'll tell you is, when you draw your brows, always do the strokes in the beginning and then try to define the lines towards the middle to the end. That way you get a more natural looking beginning brows. Same thing goes with your contour, with your concealing. When you're concealing, you want to conceal from the middle part, do not conceal from the beginning, except you want a boxy brows. And when you're concealing your brows, I use the same shade I used under the eyes in highlighting on the bottom part of the concealing, and on top you want to use your foundation for an easy blend. So once that was done, I took the same powder, my Sephora powder in Almond, and just tried to blend out my concealer, and this is what I have here. And once that was done, I went in back with my blush, and this time I'm using the Haze Beauty blush palette. Yeah, most times I get to use like 3 different brands of blushes. I just like the pop of color, especially when I want a subtle one. I just go with whatever subtle colors I have from different palettes to achieve what I want. And also, please, if you want me to create a detailed tutorial on how I achieve this eyeshadow look, please let me know in the comment section and I will do just that. And also, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, like this video and drop a comment. So next up, I went on to highlight the bridge of my nose using the MAC blush highlighter. It is a peachy looking highlighter, and I like to use anything peachy when it comes to dark skin. I prefer the peachy highlight to the gold ones on dark skin. After doing that, I went on to line in the lips using the Beauty Line by Didi. I think it's the darkest shade of the brown pencil. And then after doing that, I went in with this nude lipstick. I think I got it from Primark. I'm not sure, but the name is Wiped Out. I put that in the middle, smack, just to blend it out a little bit. And then I went on with the SoooPro Cosmetic matte lipstick in Osho, which is a dark brown, just to define the lips more, and also use the matte one just so the lipstick lasts like really long, just for the longevity of it as well. And then I went in with the Anastasia nude gloss. After going in with the gloss, I went in with a BBC Bellissima by Candy brown lip gloss as well, just to define the lips, just to make it pop. I love me a gorgeous nude lips. This is my go-to nude lips when I want a glossy nude. After that, I went on with my lashes, and for my lashes I am using the MsMetics lashes. This is one of the lash from her bridal set. They have other mink lashes and also, but I wanted something that had that really subtle drama, and the lashes was what I know would give me that volume that I was looking for. And for my lashes, I always use the classic lash glue, and it holds for as long as I want it. After that was done, next thing is to apply my mascara on the bottom lash, and this step makes your eyes speak and gives you that professional effect. So next up, we're going to set the face, and in doing this, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush setting spray to melt down the makeup and give you that longevity. And after applying my setting spray, I always like to go in with a fan to just hasten up the setting of the spray, and also I like to take a puff to just like press on my setting spray onto the skin. And then next up, to finish up this look, I'm going to be using the One Size finishing spray. So this is just to lock down the entire makeup and make it transfer proof, sweat proof, and all of that. So with this, we have come to the end of this video. This is how we went from this to looking like this. Also, please do not forget to like this video, drop a comment, and please subscribe. Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.